Today's one of those mornings where we're back in an urban setting. So it's really loud. You can hear all the neighborhood dogs barking. The school buses are picking up kids, so everyone's outside talking and hanging out. So I'm going to try to get through this and show you guys everything going on, hopefully without too much background noise. But I already know for sure you're probably going to hear the school bus and a lot of dogs barking because there are a ton of dogs barking in the distance. But this is the only time when all the kids are sleeping still where I can come out here and kind of get everything done really fast before I need to make breakfast and start the day for everyone. Which we're all pretty exhausted from moving and doing everything else. My parents are moving into our home. We are actually officially putting a cabin right here on the slab right here, or right next to the slab in this area before the fence. We ordered a 400 square foot cabin, so it's really not very big. It's actually a little under 400 square feet. It's like 12 by 36 or something like that. And it'll go right in this area, and that'll be really cool. So when we come hang out here during the week to homeschool with my mom and garden with the kids, then this will give us our own little area to sleep and hang out when we need quiet time and to work on stuff. But otherwise, we'll be in the main home cooking and hanging out and homeschooling all together, which is really cool to be able to do something like that. And we're still going to be renting a house, a slightly bigger house up there where my husband's working, so we can hang out with him too. But since he works so much during the week and my dad works out of state, it makes sense that we all kind of work together with the kids. It makes life a lot easier for us. So that is something that's going to be a big change. And also on the concrete slab, once we clear all of that off, because there's a lot to be cleared, then my mom ordered her own shed, more for storage than anything, to put on the slab. So it's going to be really cool to show off. I'm really excited because not just to have a little cabin and space on the property that I've raised my family in for the last 7 years, but because it's right in the garden, so I can open my door and literally walk into the garden and work. It's going to be so much fun. Truly, I'm excited for that part. And then when we finish purchasing land next summer, and while we're waiting for our house to be built or remodeled or whatever we choose to do, we'll move the cabin out there if we need to give us a space to sleep and rest while we work in the garden and stuff. But for now, it's not that big of a deal. So I want to show you this mess in the garden. I know I kind of have the camera pointed away showing you everything while I talk. But I want to show you all of this. So this is all of the dead, damaged, or sick branches from the the blackberry plants that needed to come off. Now you see some green in there. Those were either dead at the base or they actually had some disease inside of them from it being so humid and dry, and then all of a sudden getting rain. That'll do that. Bacteria will soak up through the roots of the plant in the soil, or if there's a cut or wound on the plant, it will enter that plant and cause it to rot from the inside out. I've had to completely destroy plants because they were rotting like that. Previously, I've showed videos with blackberry gall and what that looks like, and it is a mess. Now, this one, you can tell this is a little bit older because of the color changing right there, so I'm not too concerned about it. But with the cabin moving in, we might have to cut all of these blackberries right down to the base. I keep saying blueberries, but actually maybe 1 or 2 of our 20 blueberry plants survived this summer because we haven't been able to water until recently, and now we can only really water during certain hours because from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. there's no water, or 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., something like that. One or combination of those hours. So it's been a mess. So I'm out here really, really early watering what I can. That way it has time to soak into the soil before the sun gets hot and before the ordinance sets in. So that'll be nice. Right here, you can see just how much of these plants are gone. I really lopped them off. I wanted to video that, but it was just easier to get out here and get it done and over with. These two. Now, all of these brown leaves, these plants are not dead, but the leaves are brown. They will be replaced by new green leaves later. These are not new leaves, but there are some new foliage coming in right here. So you can see what the new leaves will look like. You can see that the plant is actually healthy where the new leaves are coming in, not where all these really sad dry leaves are. Now this actually looks like the plant's diseased, but also this is what the plants tend to look like when they go through a severe drought and damage. And there were just where the berries were supposed to be growing. Now we got a ton of berries this year, as you know, but the berries were supposed to be going, everything was just completely dry. There was not enough water here at all, and we haven't been here most of the summer because we've been out of town with my husband while he works. So there's no one to really take care of it, which is why videos have been so few and far in between, because there's just been so much going on for us. So this one is still has a lot of height, but what happened is all of the I don't know what you call them, brambles, branches, they had grown in between this wire and were all tangled up, but a lot of them were completely dead or damaged, and you can see that here. And so here's kind of what I was talking about, where the berries were, they were falling off, the flowers were falling off after it started getting really hot. I'm excited to see that they're kind of coming back together, or everything's coming back together, and that they're starting to grow new growth again, because we have had a couple of heavier thunderstorms. They didn't last long, but they were just heavy downpours just in the last couple of days. That's made one heck of a difference in the garden. So here's kind of the back side of it all. You can see where the grass has been overtaking, so we've been out here kind of pulling some of it up. This is what it looked like. Pretty intense. Right on this side, we actually have some poison ivy that's grown up around these berries, but this berry bush probably needs to be cut down all the way to the base, because I need to get some gloves and pull out that poison ivy. But if you look right here, there is definitely some damage. It looks like it could be blackberry gall. I'm not sure, but that's not good. This is a plant that's previously gotten sick, so at this point it may just be time to cut our losses. Last time I cut it off at the base and it actually grew back. I was really hoping this year to be able to keep this year's growth, because what happens is the berries produce on first year canes and primocanes and their second year floricanes, so you get both, which is cool. So you could cut this down to the base every year if you wanted to and only get that primocane growth, but I was hoping to leave them so we can have early berry production and a heavier berry production next year, but I don't think that's going to be possible with everything happening. And you can see just how thick the grass is down here, which is amazing, because everywhere else in the yard the grass has been completely dead. And it's kind of growing in here, but my mom wants to get some chickens or something going on in the area, so I figured, okay, well, if we decide to get some grown chickens again, then I'll fence off the garden area, and we can put them in here and let them kill all of this grass and eat it, and it'll give them nutrition, provide the family with eggs, all while lessening my workload, which I think is a great idea. And again, you can see where we really cut back on these berries, and most of this is pretty cleared out now. There's some sporadic grass in here, and then you come over here, it's extremely crazy and wild. But right in here is where I have a couple of strawberry plants, this one and this one. And that's what I was talking about previously, that they'll look like they're dead, but they're likely just dormant. These are mulching really good. They do not do well with the heat. And these are seascape strawberries, so they really do best in zone 8 or lower. We're in zone 9A, so it's pushing it because it is so hot here and humid. But luckily we haven't had to deal with diseases on these strawberries ever every summer they look dead until fall comes, and then they start perking back up again. You can see just how different it looks in this area where I've started really heavily pulling out grass versus over here where it's just wild. And here's all the grass I pulled out a couple days ago. It's literally been about 2 days, and it's completely dried out. So that's how hot and dry it has been. And then here's some more branches where I cut more out. Now over here, these are the contents from the previous compost. I actually emptied out the bucket and sold it because originally we didn't know my parents were going to be interested in this property. So we were trying to clean it off like we were told to get ready for the new seller. If I would have known my parents were purchasing it, it would have been very different. And the idea is that they're going to purchase this and make this their permanent residence for the rest of their lives. And we are purchasing a larger property, at least 15 acres. I know not massive, but really 25 acres is ideal for us. If we could afford to purchase more, we would. But we have to be realistic about what we want to pay every month and how we want to live life. So it's more important for us to purchase land than a big house because we do not spend a lot of time inside when the weather is cool. During the summer, it's brutal and we cannot stand the heat, so we don't. But let me show you. Actually, it's fairly easy to pull this grass up. Right here, it literally just pulls up, and a lot of this grass has kind of binds together, so it comes up fairly easily. I might have to get something in here to kind of move the roots around a little bit, but I'm not that concerned. It's way too hot to plant strawberries. The original plan was to line this bed. I had an ant on me, sorry. Line this bed with strawberry plants. Most of the new growth strawberries that I'm planting this year did not survive the summer. So we had planted like 25 Chandler strawberries. They did not survive. I don't even see the plants anywhere. Maybe they're hiding under some of the grass on the other side. So that's why after everything kind of killed off, it made so much room for this grass to come in. Because if you do not keep your ground planted, weeds and grass will definitely grow in its place, especially when you have good soil. So grass is taken over. I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to talk to my mom and see what she wants to plant. She has told my dad and designated that the gardening and landscaping will be my job. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that would be a great homeschool project for the kids. I definitely think gardening is important and being outside to learn is important. So that'll give them something to do and kind of break up their bookwork assignments. I need to talk to her and see what would be best to plant here. I'm thinking kale would be a good thing, also carrots, but we want to grow such a large number of carrots. I got those bolero carrots, which are a good solid storage carrot, and they're sweet. That way they're big enough that I can actually harvest them and can them if I wanted to, or dehydrate them, even shred them and dehydrate them that way, which they reconstitute really well in soups and stews. I used some shredded carrots, not ones that I grew, but ones I got from Augustin Farms in one of my recent videos about chicken and dumplings, and so you can kind of see how well they rehydrate. So I'm going to talk to her and see. We might plant kale in here or turnip greens like we did that one year, or we might just go ahead and add a ton of carrots. I bought about 25,000 of those bolero carrot seeds, and I'm definitely going to sow them. I still have all the turnip seeds because I plan on growing turnip fodder for my animals. I have over 1 million turnip seeds, so we have a lot that we can do. I can plant peas. Technically it's warm enough I can still plant cucumbers, but I just don't know if I want to. I'm going to talk to my mom and see if she wants to do that, and we can make pickles, hopefully. I just don't want them to not grow and produce before it gets too cool. However, if I get a cold tolerant variety, that may not be an issue, but it would be fun to see how the salt and pepper variety grows during the fall weather, so that may be an option. Pretty soon I will show a video of what everything looks like as I clear it out, or maybe just a video of me pulling out weeds of the garden. I find those really relaxing, and believe it or not, my daughter will just sit there for hours asking to watch videos of the rain sounds, which I make that relax her, or just gardening videos put to music, while she reads and plays with her toys and does other things. We just find it really relaxing to have that up. So here is once again the okra. You can see how sad they look from the drought, but they were getting a ton of new growth at the bottom. And I'm thinking, since I'm going to be here several times a week, finally to water it, I can come out here early in the morning and water everything. And since the rain has come, we're starting to get okra again. Now, it was steadily producing, but I wasn't here to pick it, and so it was getting really big and producing less because it had so many okra come to maturity. So this one right here is a baby okra, and this right here is a unopened flower, and then this is what okra should look like. That's pretty much a perfect size for this variety. This is a heavy hitter okra. It was derived from Clinton spineless. And then look up here, same thing, okra and flowers. So this is a good sign. Okra does really well in the hot weather, but it does need water to produce. These have an incredible taproot on them, so that's what saved them. And now that it's starting to cool off a little bit and we're actually going to be here and ensuring that they all get water, they are going to produce so much. I'm really excited to see how well they do. You can see even up top has some more growth. So these have been severely stunted because of how little they were taken care of. But I'm excited to see if they'll grow up the rest of the way. But if not, they're still producing well enough for our family. And so I will let them produce for the rest of the season until it gets too cold for them to produce. However, next year I plan on having some kind of watering system in place. We also got rid of that because, like I said, we didn't know my parents were going to end up purchasing the property or that any of this was going to end up the way it is. So we'll have to see exactly what to do there. I'm going to talk to my mom about me adding some more garden beds to help feed all of our families, because we're basically a multi-generational household now. Literally, it is my parents and their younger 3 kids that are still at home. There are 9 kids total with my mom, and so most of us are grown, but the youngest ones are 15, 13, and 10. And then I have my husband and I and our 4 children, but our husbands work a lot, so it's mostly us tending to the children, and it's really nice to have somebody there where we can work together to garden and cook and homeschool, and also have other kids that the kids can go on field trips with or to the park or play outside. So I know some people who didn't grow up in households where you have younger siblings think it's crazy or weird, but I actually really enjoy having much younger siblings because they are like my children's best friends, and then the siblings that are closer to our age are just fun to hang out with as you get older. But a lot of my siblings are military, and all of us adult siblings are married, so we're really busy as far as get-together, so it's cool to have the younger ones around. Now, in here, you can see the banana trees. They somehow held on during the drought. They need a ton of water, which is why they are super short. None of them are even my height, whereas usually by June, mid-June or July, most of these are towering over me. They easily get 15 feet tall, and so you can see the effect of not having water. The reason that they stay watered throughout the year is usually the duck pond will water the plants, but we don't have ducks here right now because, like I said, we were moving and we didn't know my parents were getting the property. So that's going to be another change, seeing the animals and livestock come back over as I teach my mom how to take care of them. Now, my mom grew up, and when her and my dad were younger, my biological father, she did go with him up to his grandparents, and he was raised on a goat farm, so they homesteaded. They had geese, chickens, all of that. My dad was an avid hunter because back then it was a pretty lucrative way to provide for yourself. And she does know how to do things like milk goats, take care of them, and all of that, but she does not have as much experience in raising poultry the way that I do, especially when it comes to meat poultry. So that's going to be fun, kind of updating you on how she's learning and how the kids are learning. I'm excited for that. So all of this needs to come out, this pile of wood, but as you can see, it is covered in poison ivy. I am so highly allergic to poison ivy, poison oak, and poison sumac that I have scars. I don't know if you can see some of them on my arms from where I got it on me a couple years ago, and my skin just literally peeled off. It was awful. Even with steroids, I was miserable, and so I'm really terrified to touch any of that. I don't know how we're going to get rid of it. We have a friend down the street whose son mows our yard, and so I might see if they have any allergies to this, because if not, I know they're always willing to make some extra cash. Teenage boys are awesome about working hard to make their money, especially when it comes to yard work, so I might have to enlist some outside help with that. It has been so nice having someone to come out here, and I have the hiccups, I apologize, and take care of the grass for us and all of that while we've been out of town. So I'm going to clean up all of this. I'm going to get all these beds filled, talk to my mom about adding some more beds, see what she thinks about that, probably leave enough open space right from the front of the yard all the way, so our yard goes all the way past those trees to the ditch, and see about leaving open space so we can get the side-by-side through. It'll make it a lot easier. Originally, we did the garden, everything 4 feet apart, so my daughter's wheelchair could come through, but at this point, I think that it would probably be best to make a path so that we can get the side-by-side through. That would be the easiest way to load up the garden tools, food that we harvest, all of that. Minimum work for maximum, or minimum effort for maximum effect, kind of. The less work and more efficiency you have, the better. I'm all for working smarter when I can. It's not always the case, but you can see there's still some things that need to be moved today or tomorrow before the cabin comes this week, and my mom's shed should be here only within a few days. They almost delivered today, but the driver had a lot to do and deliver already, but there is a chance that if both buildings will fit on the same truck, that they will deliver them at the same time. So we're going to be extremely busy with all of that, and thank goodness it is Friday, so I do not homeschool my kids on Fridays at all. I let them have a day of rest, so the kids will just be free to help us out and hang out and rest and be themselves. I'm so proud of them. They have worked so hard during all of this and been such a huge help. It is sad to see them grow so quickly, but it's so exciting to see them learn new things and be able to help. So that part just makes me really happy, and it takes so much pressure off of all of us. I can't tell you how much easier it's been having my siblings around that are a little older than my kids to help out, and we can all help my mom out, and she has my older boys to help. So it really does work out in the long run. And so I quickly went over this a few days ago, but this is just where everything is overgrown, and there's the wood pile back there from all of this that had to be cut back. You can see the trees are still falling, so before we get a fence put up, that'll all have to be cut back. But this area, if you go back to my previous videos, you know that it holds a ton of water when we go out of the drought into the rainy season, which is coming. Winter is coming, which means water is coming, which is another reason why these trees are suffering, that they are going through huge cycles of torrential rainfall down, and then nothing but extreme drought, and it's just taking its toll on the trees, and they are crashing to the ground and dying. So it's probably best to clear all this out. We had another tree fall kind of on the neighbor side of the property line, which we're really good friends with these neighbors. I grew up with them. We grew up on the same street. We were neighbors as kids. Now we're all neighbors as adults. We all go to the same church. It is amazing. I love it, and I love them. So it'll be nothing for us to talk to them and see what they'd like us to do. That way we can help get rid of that tree and kind of clear this area up, which, depending on what my mom wants to do as far as poultry, I may get some animals to clean this up. We do have an ordinance about how far animals have to be from the housing, but my mom's thinking maybe in this area she wants a small chicken coop. She's not going to do anything crazy like what I did. That is too much for her. She just wants the enjoyment of it. I might get more chickens, but like I said, this summer we're planning on buying land, and so it's not going to matter. Everything's a mess, so just ignore this mess. You can see my chicken coop is still over here where I kept the ducks, so we still have that available. But like I said previously, the dogs are hanging out there. Sugar basically runs straight into it when I let him out now, which is nice. He's my 3-year-old basset hound, and it just gives them a safe place to play until my mom and dad buy the fencing and we get the permit to fence all of that off. So this fence might also be moving depending on how much space we need for the cabin. When my husband comes back in town tonight, he will let us know and kind of help us out with that. I think I could probably blab on forever because so much is happening, but instead of just walking around and showing you everything, I'm gonna head inside, start breakfast, probably get some coffee or something. I am already hot, so I'll probably get coffee and water. And as I start really cleaning out the garden, I'll probably post some more prolonged videos of me doing the work, pulling out the grass. I'll post the videos of us reseeding, and you guys will get to see everything happening within this area and on this homestead. And it's going to be so much fun having multiple generations at one time to do the work. So thank you guys for listening to me ramble and hanging out with me and seeing the craziness that is now our blackberry plants, which are my favorite part of the homestead. And I can't wait to show you the big changes that are coming this fall, because we will be growing a lot of vegetables. We will be providing for a lot of our own food, filling up those freezers, dehydrating, and hopefully, if we can save up the money, maybe come together, getting a big freeze dryer, and that is going to be a game changer. So I can't wait to show you guys that.